What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. We're so glad you're here. Again, I'm Christy, and this is Joey, and we are the founders of Creative Rise. And we started Creative Rise because we saw that so many creatives were good at the creative side, but sometimes forget, or maybe just don't know, or don't know what to do about the business side of your business. And so
we understand, because that was us.
Yeah. Which no one's born. A lot of people are born with creativity. They're not born with business knowledge. So it's something you got to learn, and we actually love it. And so we love to help and partner with you guys so you can build businesses that you love through understanding business, things like marketing, sales, all that kind of stuff. So we have this weekly podcast to drop tips, tricks, all the things we're doing in our business and learning through our businesses on how to create a thriving business so that you can too, which is awesome. So we love what we get to do here. If you just came from the last episode, our regrets podcast, I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't listened to that one yet, go listen to that one. We drop our top 3 regrets from 2024 that we just open up and talk about, and also the solutions of how we're going to move forward in 2025. And this episode right now is all about trends for 2025 that we saw near the last probably like 6 months of 2024 that we know are going to help skyrocket creatives into building great businesses in 2025.
So I already have a huge regret for 2020. Last week, if you listen to the podcast, I mean, not only did a podcast on 2024 regrets, but one of the regrets was about finance stuff. And we actually gave away a free training last week all about how you can manage your money better in 2025, how you can manage your money, you can manage your revenue, you can plan and put away for taxes, and how you can start to funnel money away that you can eventually invest, and you can actually build yourself a retirement as a self-employed individual. I thought it was great. We built this free training. I put it out to all you guys. So many of you guys took us up on that, signed up for the free training, watched it. And eventually someone finally said to me, hey, really love the training, but you forgot to cut out and trim all of your outtakes at the beginning. And I was like, what are you talking about?
And it had been up for like 12 hours, maybe.
No, like 24 hours.
24 hours?
Oh, yeah. It was like a whole day. So I'm going, what are you talking about?
It is dirty.
So, no, I did myself dirty. So I go and watch it, and the first 2 minutes are me starting the video, and then something happens. We weren't in our normal studio. We were down in the desert, so we weren't in our normal spot. So, like, there was a bang outside, or then this happened, or I messed up, and like I just kept restarting, and it was so embarrassing. I was like, my nose is all like dry, so I was like sniffing and stuff. And anyways, I go and look at this. I didn't trim any of that out, so that was super embarrassing. I hope you got a really, really good laugh out of that if you watched the training. So many of you guys didn't say anything until one person said something to me, and so I've re-uploaded it and just trimmed it. But that was hilarious. So first week of 2025, I've already got a regret and a funny story. And it was really embarrassing, but I hope it made you laugh. So
we have trimmed the video now. But if someone wants access to that video, how do they get it?
Yeah, creativerise.com/money training is a completely free little video for you on how you can manage your money better this year, which is a very, very important thing. So go on and get that. But another thing we want to talk about today, as we get into today's episode, we're talking about good and bad trends for 2025. But one of the things we want to talk about is, do you have the sales call scaries? This is a very real thing.
Oh, right? I don't know. If you're just starting your business, I don't know if there's anything more intimidating than getting on a sales call. Like any other
just sales in general, right? Like for creatives, I bet you 9.5 out of 10 creatives that we ever come across hate sales, including myself, including you. When we first started our businesses, it's really uncomfortable. Like, we just want people to come to us, say, we love your work, and we want to hire you.
Here's my money.
Right? That's not typically how it always goes, right? So sales calls and the ability to actually sell your product or service or sell yourself is a very important thing as a creative. And so we got a brand new training for you guys. We had one last week. We got another one this week. I'm really excited about this one. A brand new training where we teach you the 7 steps on a sales call to get a yes, okay? Very simply, we walk you through the exact framework that Christy and I have been using for years. You hated sales when I first met you.
I feel like
after you got the 7-step framework, literally, Christy is really, really great at sales. And this is what being great at sales actually means. It's not that you're sleazy or you can be really manipulative. Being really great at sales is you know how to really identify what your prospect or your ideal client you're talking to's problem might be. You can then look at that problem together as a team and figure out if you have a really good solution for it. And then you know how to then present that solution in a way that really makes sense. And ideally, it's going to lead to a lot more yeses. So If you feel like you are Christy and you hated sales, or like me years ago, and you want to be like Christy and get a lot better at sales as she has become, she's unbelievable at it now because she follows the 7 steps. We'd love to give it to you. So all you got to do is go to creativerise.com. It's actually a bonus for people that join the waitlist for the next round of the mastermind. So if you're already on the waitlist for the mastermind, check your email. We emailed you this brand new bonus course this morning. Which is really fun. And if you want the bonus course, all you got to go to do is creativerise.com/nothing, because it's just go to creativerise.com. You'll see join the waitlist buttons all over the place, or get early access buttons. Click on that. If you join the waitlist, because you want to join the waitlist for the next round of the mastermind, you will get a bonus course immediately that you can actually take action on right away. And that is the Sales Call Formula: 7 steps to get more yeses on sales call. We're going to give you the whole thing. So it's completely free, which is fun. So other than that, guys, we get the sales call scaries.
Yep.
We want to help you guys handle that. But today we want to talk about trends.
Yes.
We want to talk about the good and the bad of 2024 that we saw, and things that we are projecting are really important to focus on in 2025. So these trends are things that we have looked back, as Christy said, we looked back on last year and we went, here's the indicators of things that we've seen ourselves do and things we've seen people that are in our community do or some of our friends do that are really working. And we want to make sure we bring those to you guys on the pod today, so you guys can run it as 2025 with somewhat of a, hey, I feel like if I just do that, I'm going to see some momentum. So there's a lot of things that we could probably add here. This list of good trends could be 100 things long. We've picked only a few today to keep it real concise and simple, the things that we're the most excited about.
Yeah.
And so we hope you enjoy them.
Yeah. So we are going to start off with the bad trends. We're going to start starting off with the things that we have seen, whether, yes, it's Joey and I, the community, whatever, that we have seen that are maybe holding you back and things you need to cut loose for in 2024. So we're going to start with number one.
Yeah, bad trend number one is that 70% of creatives, you guys, last year reported feeling signs of burnout, or reported just being straight up burnt out. And that is not a good thing, right? We felt little pieces of that here and there, right? It's a common thing. And so bad trend for 2025 is being burnt out. We want to leave that in last year, and we want to talk about how you can navigate not getting burnt out next year. So here's some indicators for being burnt out. We got 3 right here. The indicators for burnout, the most common indicators are a lack of work-life balance, a lack of financial security, and isolation. Okay, so work-life balance, real quick, it's a very hot topic. Do you have it? Can you even achieve it? Whatever. We're not going to talk about that. But the problem with work-life balance is it often feels out of alignment when you don't know what you are really clearly working on. And most importantly, what you're working on, you're not seeing momentum on.
Yeah.
Nothing's actually changing day to day or week to week or month to month in your business. Therefore, you feel like you need to work harder, longer, and it's driving you in the ground, right? It's affecting your mental health. It's affecting your physical health. It's affecting your time with family or loved ones or hobbies. And so that is really the problem with work-life balance. And that leads to a lot of burnout, right? Now, number 2, a lack of financial security. That, of course, leads to burnout. If you feel like you are working really hard, but what you're working on is not actually producing revenue for your business. It's not producing revenue for your business that you can then turn into financial security personally. That is going to make you very, very stressed. And stressed people are more inclined to burn out, right? And last but not least, isolation is huge. If you are isolated and you're running a business, your business problems are growing and growing and growing week to week and month to month. And if you're isolated and you don't have any support, the gap between your problem level and your support level, that gap right there is destructive stress. That is going to make you burn out, right? So this is bad trend number 1 that we want to just talk about and encourage you this year that you should really, really try to avoid. So people who own their own businesses with high levels of support are 47% less likely to experience burnout compared to those with low or no support. There's a stat from 2024. That's very, very important. You should really take that to mind and think about that as you go into this next year. So make 2025 the year where you really, really focus on what are the things that actually drive my business forward, and how can I make sure when I am working, I'm working on the things that actually matter. So I'm going to see results. So I'm not going to drive myself into the ground and wreck my work-life balance. That also then will lead to more financial security. And ideally, you're surrounding yourself with people at the same time, whether it's something like Creative Rise, whether it's just this podcast, a part of that, feeling like you're part of the podcast community, whether you got local community, we really, really encourage that with other creatives, people who get it, right? Very, very important. You do not want to be isolated this year.
And it's funny because if you have 2 out of the 3 things, you may still experience burnout. You might be like, "Oh, actually, I spend a lot of time, like, with family. I spend a lot of time in the day doing this, and I feel like I'm making good money, but I feel like I'm the only person out here doing this," right? Like, that can cause burnout. So just rate yourself in each one
Yeah.
of those little categories and see where you might be lacking and how you can fulfill that in 2025.
Even if you only have one of them, I mean, you could be making a ton of money. You could be working in a way where you feel like your work-life balance is solid, but you feel like you have zero community at all. You will probably burn out eventually,
Yep.
right? Or you feel like you got a ton of community, you feel like you love your work-life balance, but you're not making any money, you're going to burn out because it's not sustainable, right?
Yes.
So these 3 things are really, really important indicators to focus on for this next year, all right?
Yeah.
Second bad trend, this one's
Yes.
really important.
Creatives fell hard for this one in 2024, and I think this is actually a personality type of most creatives, is shiny object syndrome.
Including us.
I have
We
this.
we had to really fight against it.
Look at my list of hobbies and you will find shiny object syndrome. It's like you become average at everything, but not great at anything because you're constantly jumping from thing to thing to thing to thing. So this manifests itself in ways in the creative industry and maybe in your own life and business, in that you get really excited about pursuing something, whether it's a new offer, a new industry. Maybe you're like, oh, I want to pursue wedding photography, or it's like, oh, I want to pursue shooting with outdoor brands. But then all of a sudden, you start working on that thing and this cycle begins, okay? So you get this like dopamine hit of when you get excited and you're in the dreaming phase of, oh my gosh, I'm gonna start my influencing career, or I'm gonna start my brand photography career, or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden you get into that and you actually start working on it, and the dopamine stops coming because the work gets hard. It actually it gets into the season
Or
of
tedious.
building, or it becomes tedious or boring work, right? Any business is going to have that spike of adrenaline when you first get started, and then it's going to drop down when you actually get into the hard work. And maybe you don't see results as quick enough, so your brain's like aching for that dopamine hit again. And what happens with shiny object syndrome is you're like, oh, this is harder than I thought. This is taking longer than I thought. And so you get distracted and your brain wants to get that dopamine hit again. And so you find a new industry. You find a new thing. You're like, oh, wait, actually, no. I'm gonna quit that, put that on the side. And now I want to pursue this type of thing. I want to shoot this thing. I want to do this. And you constantly jump from thing to thing to thing because your brain is seeking those little highs. And what you don't realize is that those are quick little hits, and then they're going to, again, leave you feeling like you can't build anything, or it's going to leave you financially insecure or isolated or whatever that looks like. And you're going to have another year where you're bummed out because you haven't made any progress. Now, what we want to challenge you to do in this next year is when your brain starts to feel that, like, I need another dopamine hit, instead of shifting and going to a new thing, stick with it, get people to support you, get some support, and start looking for those adrenaline dopamine hits with actually winning, right? Actually getting something, getting a deal, landing a deal, sticking through the hard mud of building and actually getting to the next thing. And that's a way better hit than just like the dream phase and then it totally falling off. So
Yeah, we got a really good example of this.
we do.
Haley Zumkeller. Shout out to you, Haley. One of our favorite people that we've gotten to meet through Creative Ride ever, and just become a good friend. She's awesome. She's from Victoria, and she lives on Vancouver Island, and she's got a wedding photography business. She then got into brand stuff. She's also got into helping people run ads. She's just done a ton of stuff. You'd think that she is very shiny object syndrome prone, and while she probably is, because she's got a lot of ideas, what Haley does better than almost anybody we've ever met that is a creative is she will pick an idea and she will focus on it and shelve the other stuff that she's wanting to do and really see that idea all the way through
Yes,
to
she's a
fruition.
finisher.
She finishes the whole cycle. She doesn't repeat the cycle of just jumping from thing to thing. She's a finisher. So this is why she's built a multiple six-figure business in the wedding space with the brands and some other stuff, because she's able to actually commit to something, give herself a couple solid months or a year or 2 years to really go after something. And then she masters it. She then builds a team around herself to help her do it at scale. And then she can go, oh, I got some time. I'm going to shift to something else as well, which is really cool. In addition, so that is a cycle that not a lot of creatives do really well. And Haley does it really well. So shout out to you, Haley.
Yes. And one last thing about this, and I think this is why some people shift from thing to thing to thing, is that they get insecure that they're waiting for that like magic ticket, right? They're waiting for like the magic industry that's just going to be like, boom, snap my fingers and it's easy and it's a magic ticket. There's nothing like that. I promise you. There's no magic ticket in any business. It all requires hard work, dedication, and consistency. So if you're in a discouraged spot right now, know that you just need more of that, right? So that you get forward, get through it, and you're going to thank yourself
Yeah.
at the end of 2020.
Very true.
Yeah.
All right, last bad trend that we saw last year that we do not want you to repeat or fall into this year is if you are a creative that has a pitching model business, probably in the brand space, maybe in the wedding space too, if you're pitching venues or anything like that. If you are pitching in 2025, do not get discouraged if you get ghosted or you get a no on the first pitch. And the reason for that is because so many creatives last year, we got countless messages. Hey, I'm so discouraged about pitching and it never works. And I pitch and I don't ever hear back. Guys, the data shows, I've been doing this for over a decade. Christy's been doing this for years now too. And we've gotten to help hundreds of creatives build pitching models and execute them. The data shows that 7 out of 10 deals that go through come off of a follow-up or multiple follow-ups. So what I want to say to you is if you send one email to a brand, it's not like you sent the email and that was your only ever shot to chat with them or pitch them and it's never going to happen. And you want to check that one off the box. It didn't work. Put a big X through that, right? Pitches that don't have follow-ups probably won't work. And so I really want to encourage you, expect that your first pitch isn't going to get an answer. Expect your second one might not get an answer, but really start working on your follow-up game, responding, really trying to make sure you're continuing to give value, show a really good solution to a potential problem they might have. Be yourself, be personable, and keep up in doing it. Be really consistent. The people that we saw last year really crushing the brand space with their pitches were people that had zero emotional attachment tied to their initial pitch and really their first like 5 or 6 follow-ups. And then they'd be shocked and like, oh my gosh, dude, I got on my 7th email, they hit me back and scheduled a meeting and now I got a retainer for $4,500 a month. Like, it's amazing. I'm like, that's amazing. I'm glad you didn't stop after the first pitch. So that's the last bad trend that we saw last year that we really want to make sure you do not fall into this year is getting discouraged when your initial pitches don't get initial responses. So make sure you follow up. 7 out of 10 deals, closed deals come from follow-ups as photographers, filmmakers, social media managers, content creators. So it's really important you don't get discouraged and let the first ghost or the first no stop you there, which is really important. All right.
All right, now on to
We got some good
the
trends.
Good trends. And these are
right.
good. Like
This
they
might
are
be what you came for.
good.
A little bit more positive, but
Yes.
what I do want to say is all of those bad trends had an inverse on make sure you do this instead, right? So make sure you do all those things that we just talked about. And then here's 3 other things. We actually got a bonus. We had a 4th bonus one that's really important that we really want you guys to focus on this year if it's applicable to you, because we saw it really work last year for ourselves and for so many businesses that we get to help out and just hearing from you guys on the pod. And so this is really important. So we'll start with good trend number 1 for 2025 that you should be focusing on and probably implementing into your creative business is using video on every page of your website that you can. Now, here's what I mean by that. When someone comes to your website, there are so many different ways that people can interact and actually prefer to interact with you. So a great example is Christy has insane reading comprehension. Christy could read a page of a book. I could ask her, she could close it, never look at it again. I could ask her 3 days later, hey, what was in that book? And she will basically almost recite line for line what she read. It's not like a photographic memory, but it's just like your reading comprehension level. When she reads something, she retains the information
She's old school.
in an amazing way. She's really good at that. My reading comprehension is horrible. My video comprehension is really high. If I watch a video on something, anytime I look something up, Christy just Googles it. I go to YouTube or something and I look it up that way because my video comprehension is way higher. Therefore, when I go to somebody's website and I'm looking at a product or service, I'm immediately going to be drawn to look for a video and want to watch a video. So point is that there's different styles of people wanting to engage with your content and engage with your sales copy or your website frameworks. And so it's really important. A huge trend we saw last year of the few people that actually implemented this, and we said we should implement this, is putting videos on every page you can on your website. So that means having a welcome video on your homepage, having a sales video on the page where they're actually looking at your packages or what you offer or even just your services, right? Having a video on the top of your inquiry page, something you even can say something like super quick, like, hey, you know, how's it going? I'm so glad you're wanting to inquire with me. I'm going to get back to you in under 24 hours. Fill this quick form. I cannot wait to hear about this, and this. thank you so much. It doesn't have to be long. It could be
Yeah.
10, 15 seconds. But for someone who is prone to want to experience video, which I think is actually the bigger percentage of the population,
Well, even
that is very important.
yeah, even if it's not someone's form of learning style, seeing you on camera
Yes,
talking
it's
to them
huge.
builds that trust like nothing else,
Seeing
right?
your
Text
face
cannot do
everywhere.
that.
Yeah.
Seeing your face, seeing your personality, like we have had people implement it and they're like, "Oh my gosh," like for weddings specifically, "Oh my gosh, the conversion rate and the response to their emails has like jacked up like
Mhm.
crazy
Yeah.
because they actually it's a human, right? It's not just like an inquiry form to a business. It's a human being and personal brands is also
Yeah.
a huge trend for
Totally.
2025. So if you
Totally.
can do that, if you can implement these
Yeah.
videos all throughout your website, we promise you it will increase your
Yeah.
conversion.
Even like last one, like a great thank you video. The second someone
Yes.
inquires with you, send them to a
Oh,
page that
so
has a quick
good.
thank you video. It's 20 seconds. Hey, thank you so much. Here's what you can expect. I'll get back to you by this date or within this timeline here. And can't wait to chat. Or hey, go check this out, by the way, while you wait for me to respond. Like thank you videos are also super, super cool. So that is trend number one that you should really be considering is putting video on every page you possibly can on your website to drive more, not only harness the traffic that's coming in, but drive real engagement and really drive, as Christy said, your personal brand, your face, your tone, the energy you carry yourself with, drive that into the people that are considering doing business with you, which is super important.
Absolutely. The second trend that we are seeing that is helping people move forward with their businesses is video responses to inquiries, people that reach out, anything like that, in addition to your email response. Let's say someone goes and inquires on your website, boom, you get that in your inbox, you're stoked. You're like, okay, I'm going to respond. You send them back an email, you get ghosted. It ends up either in their junk or they just don't respond or they just don't, again, view you as a human being. And so they're like, I'll take a week and a half to respond. And then they forget, right? That happens so much. You end up following up a bunch. And that's a, great strategy. Email back, be consistent, all that good stuff. But what if you could send a secondary form immediately, not like a follow up, but literally when you send your response email, if you can also follow up in another way right at that point, oh my gosh, the conversions of that are insane.
Mhm.
Whether it's just a quick little Instagram message, like let's say a couple reaches out about an engagement shoot. You send them your packages via email. You just shoot them a quick DM of your face or a voice note or whatever it is, being like, hey, Jessica and Tom, saw that you inquired on my website, see that you live in this place. That is so awesome. I'm so excited. Congratulations, you got engaged. I just emailed you over my packages. So excited to chat. Jump on a call. Here's a link to book. Like, that will help you convert so much better, not only for like email, filtering issues that you may be experiencing, but again, it just makes you look like a human being. It makes you look like you care. And it's so much more customized, which feels so much more luxurious than just responding via email.
Yeah, that's huge. That
Go
even
the
goes
extra mile.
for if you are pitching. So even if it's not
Absolutely.
a response, also if you're pitching, if you send an email pitch, make sure you then immediately jump into your DMs, send them a DM, right? Hey, I just sent you an email. Here's my face. Talk to them, right? Show a little bit of your personality. That really helps increase conversion rates. So that's very important. Trend for 2025, number three that we think is really crucial if you want to grow your creative business this year is understanding how to harness a test shoot when you are pitching and trying to get more retainers. So the idea of retainers or pitching really anything big or anything that's somewhat of a big commitment, right? A retainer that's a 3 month commitment for $3,500 or a 6 month commitment for $4,000 a month or $2,000 a month. Whether you're in the photo space, you're in the video space, you're a content creator, want to work with a brand and do content on your own channels and you want to get on retainer, whether you're a social media manager, whatever you are, it's a big commitment, right? To ask of people. And so one of the things that we've been seeing really work is people offering test shoots or a test run, really to try them on for size. And so what you do is you take your initial offer and you scale down your initial offer to make it much smaller. So let's say your initial monthly offer you're trying to sell for retainers is going to be, let's say it's 15 images and 8 reels a month of said product, right? What you can do is you can scale that down to 2 reels and 5 images, or 1 reel and 5 images, or something like that. And you can decide, do I want to do this for, instead of it being, $3,000 a month, do I want to do it for 3 grand, or do I want to scale it down and do it for, let's say $800 or $500, like something that gets a really easy yes. Hey, I'll do it for $250. That's just going to cover my expenses to actually make this thing happen for you, right? Maybe you even want to do it for free. Now, why would you do it for free or why would you do it for super cheap where it almost sounds like you're taking a loss on it? Well, the reasoning is, let's say you pitch this to 10 brands and let's say 3 of them that month get back to you and say, "We'd love to do a test shoot. We'll send you some product." Okay, they send you some product. Let's say you do them all for free. We're just going to do the math on free right now. You do them all for free. You go out and you put together a day where you shoot all 3 of those like mini campaigns in one day, and it costs you, let's say it costs you 3 or 400 bucks, or 500 bucks to do the whole thing. You hire a little friend as a model or something, or maybe you have to buy some props. You're now in negative 500 bucks. Now, let's say you go back to these brands, you say, "Here's all the stuff," and you have a really good pitch to then get them on a monthly retainer, especially if they like it. Now, a little pro tip, the best way to do this is get them on a call if you can to show them the content, and then you can talk about what next steps might be. "Hey, can I get some feedback on the content? Would love to know what you think about it." And through that feedback, you can then start to talk and dream about the future. And hopefully, out of those 3 brands that you did for free, you're $500 in the hole on, you might get one of them even just come back and say, "Hey, we'd love to do this every single month. We'll sign a $3,000 per month retainer with you." So you spent $500 in a whole day of your time. You did stuff for free. You're now negative $500 and you stacked a new $3,000 retainer, which $3,000 over 12 months is $36,000 of new business revenue added to your top line, which is really, really important, right? So you might be doing it for free or you might be doing it for cheap, but if you do this every single month and you aim to add on, let's say, let's do a couple test shoots a month. It's one day out of my day, one day out of my month. And every single month I'm adding on at least 1 to 2 of these new people because of a test shoot. It is such a great way to start
Yeah.
stacking retainers. So
Good.
I just talked about the free model. You can do it on a paid model. It's obviously easier if you do it on a free model because you're assuming all the risk. There's no financial risk to them up front other than getting you products. So this is something we saw work really, really well, not only with us, but also with people that are in the Creative Rise community. So one of them, shout out Owen Rossi. He's been on the pod. Owen's killing it right now in his business, and he is crushing the test shoots. So take a page out of Owen's book and try it on for size this next year if you are really trying to grow your monthly recurring revenue when it comes to retainers and all that.
Yeah, it's awesome. And we have a bonus.
A bonus one.
A
So this is number
bonus one.
4. This is something that I just came across that I thought was really interesting.
This is so
And
scalable.
I wanted to bring it up. So bonus number 4, the trend number 4 that I really want to encourage you guys to consider and even just to think about is adding some type of service around social media to your business. And this sounds very cliche. It's like, "Joey, that's nothing, interesting. Why are you saying it's so interesting?" Well, what's so interesting about this is that the photography industry in 2025 is expected to have done $44 billion globally. That's a big industry, right?
Yeah.
The social media management industry, just social media management, is expected to grow from 14.4 billion in 2020, so a couple years ago. It is expected to hit 41.6 billion by 2026, which means it is growing to almost the exact same size as the photography industry this year, but it is growing at a rate of 23% a year, where the photography industry is only growing at a rate of like 7 to 8% a year. So this means that in the future, in the next couple of years, there's so much more budget getting pushed to social media management, which is really, really important. So I want to encourage you to think about, how could I potentially add a social offer to my business, whether I'm managing people's socials? How do I offer maybe a consulting offer to people where I can consult on their socials or really do a bunch of brand audit stuff? All I'm trying to convince you guys of is that there's a lot of money being pushed by brands to the area of how do we better our social? How do we pay to get better at reaching people, pay to get better at engaging with people, pay to get better at converting people and getting more people in our pipeline as a brand from social media. So those numbers blew my mind. The fact that the social media management industry is the exact same size now as the global photography industry
Mhm.
budget per year of $40+ billion, and it's growing over 4 times faster or 3 times faster than the photography industry is growing. There's something there to consider. Right.
Absolutely.
So the people that we've even seen come through the mastermind that have gotten into social media stuff, some of the biggest wins we've ever seen have been recent social media managers because the industry is growing so quick. So
Yeah, we had an episode actually with Madison Tremblay,
yes,
and she built a 6-figure business in 6 weeks, and not like, oh, she built the foundation of a 6-figure business. She literally built a $100,000 business on recurring
Yep.
monthly clients in a social media management
Yep.
business. So if you're like, I want something quick, I want something that scales quick, I am willing to do whatever it takes. Maybe
It's a
look at
great
social media
business model.
management. It's
Great business
awesome.
model where you can be making 1,500 to 5 grand per month, depending on what you are actually giving a client, and you can stack those
Yeah.
offers, which is really important.
It's
So
crazy.
yeah.
So there are so many good and bad trends coming out of 2024. So I hope this was helpful in kind of looking at, hey, which ones affect me? Which ones are I don't want to affect me in this next year? And what do I want to implement in this next year? I hope this was super helpful. And thinking back to that burnout one, you guys, if you are like, hey, I'm struggling financially, or I'm struggling with community, or I'm struggling with working on the things that I know I should be working on. Or maybe if you're actually succeeding in a lot of those areas, but you're like, you know what, I have actually really big aspirations for 2025. I want to take this thing from 100K to 200K or 50K to 100K. I want this beat of the year that I hit six figures for the very first time. Our mastermind is coming. That same mastermind that Madison went through, the same mastermind that how many grads have we come
Owen
through?
went through, same one Haley went through. There's
Yeah.
been 338 grads. I believe, that have gone through this.
338 graduates from our 6-week Creative Rise Mastermind. And if you're wondering what that is, it is one of our favorite things we do. We'd only do it twice a year, where we take 30 to 35 businesses through a 6-week experience where we basically teach all the stuff that builds a 6-figure foundation for a creative business. So this
On
is
the
for
business side.
on the
which is
business
really
side. We don't
important.
talk any of the creative stuff. We talk all business strategy because we believe that's what you need in order to actually build a thriving, successful, and profitable business.
Yeah.
So we love leading this type of community. We take 30 to 35 people. You might be wondering, who is this for? Like, what types of creatives do we take? Is it only photographers? Is it only social media managers? We take any creative business. So whether you're in the wedding space, the brand space, the social media space, whether you're a videographer, whatever it is, if you are in the creative field, in the service-based business, this is for you.
Yeah, it's really the best. We say we take everybody, but it's pretty much really the best for photographers, filmmakers, and people that are working in the social space. So whether you're a content creator, an influencer, or whether you're a social media manager, or you like design websites or something like that, you've got an agency. That is kind of the bread and butter. That's the sweet spot.
Absolutely. And you might be wondering, hey, what income threshold? Like, we always get that question. Like, am I not, if like, I'm just starting, is this going to work for me? Or is this, too much? We take all different types of people from all different income thresholds. So whether you are making nothing and you're just starting, that's a great place. And if you're already making over 6 figures, we also have the right fit for you. It works for all types of people from all these different ranges of income.
Yeah. So we always take 30 to 35. There's an application. Last time we ran this, how many applications did we get? Like 100 or something like
We
that?
got 112.
112 or something like that. So we make it application only because there's a lot of you guys that always want in. So if you want to get early access to the application, so you have the best shot at actually getting a spot and us getting your application, being able to give you a spot, then you got to join the waitlist. And again, if you join the waitlist today, you're going to get that bonus course, the sales call formula, the 7 steps to actually get a yes on a sales call. It's going to be our free gift to you. If you go and do that at creativerise.com, you can go join the waitlist there, which is fun. How long is it? It's 6 weeks, as we said. What's a regular week look like inside of the mastermind?
Yeah.
Give
So
people a little picture.
a little taste. So this is going to feel like, the whole like 75 hard thing that people are all doing or saying they're going to do. It kind of feels like that.
That's true. That's
It feels like that. It's like, hey, let's get together a group of people, hold each other accountable, and let's go hard for 6 weeks and let's see what you can build. So we start every week where we release our video modules for that week. We have video modules because, again, a lot of people are video learners, but it's a great way to start off your week where you can learn at your own pace throughout that week from whatever topic we're talking about, whether it's brand, marketing, sales, whatever it is. We release video modules for you to go through at your own time pace, but everyone's going through the same modules every single week. So modules are released on Mondays. We have our 24/7 Instagram group chat that happens during it. We've got an app that we actually have the community platform as well if you want to ask questions and track, and Joey and I answer them along with the rest of the community. Again, you're paired with 30 to 35 other creatives. So we actually pair you in accountability groups throughout the 6 weeks as well. So you and 2 other businesses get to meet every single week on your own time to talk about what you're doing, what you're trying to accomplish. It's super cool. And then last but definitely not least, we have our weekly group calls where Joey and I get on with everybody in the community in your 6-week mastermind. So only your 30 to 35 people. And we talk about what we're learning that week. We talk about what things that you're facing, how we can get over that. Joey and I are like really immersed in this 6-week group. We literally feel like
we will know you really, really well.
we will know you and your business really well by the end of this. It's awesome.
We'll know what your dog looks like too. Dogs
is
are
true.
welcome on the calls.
Dogs are always welcome on the calls. But
Yeah, so it's It's
It's awesome.
it's really what you said. It's like 75 hard for your fitness, but for your business. It's getting you doing the right things consistently over a strong period of time where hopefully they become not only things you've learned and you can carry with you. Well, they will become things you learn you can carry with you for years, but hopefully you set really good patterns and
Yeah.
you at the same time build a really good community that's going to keep you accountable to that, which is important. So what will you be learning? You're going to be learning what you need to do to build a six-figure foundation for your business, which is creating really, really good offers that are actually scalable six-figure offers. Is going to be learning how to price those offers, learning how to brand those offers, learning how to market those offers, learning how to then sell those offers, learning how to build tons of the systems around running the actual business from the business strategy side, which is important. Learning how to scale all that, learning how to do it in a way where you're not going to burn out. There's so much to the mastermind. It's all included, which is really, really cool. So again, go to creativerebels.com if you want to join the waitlist there. You will not miss it. You'll see get early access or join waitlist buttons everywhere you look. And as we said, again, you also get that free sales call formula training, brand new bonus course you can watch today if you sign up for the waitlist. You'll get it emailed to you immediately, and you can go through and watch that. And hopefully it can help you get your next yes out of a sales call, which is really important, guys. So
Great.
hopefully you just love this episode. If you did, share it with a friend. Thank you for spending some time with us today. Hopefully these trends, the bad ones, you've learned from them as well as us, and you can then take the good ones and you can implement them this year, and you can really see some good momentum and benefits in 2025, which is great. So
Awesome,
yeah, hope this
guys.
podcast was awesome, guys. Share it with a friend. Leave us a written review if you want on Spotify. You leave us a rating or on Apple Podcasts. We'd really appreciate that. And hit us up on Instagram. If you got a question, hit us up on socials. We'd love to chat with you, get to know you, and we'll see you guys next week.